Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
15 minutes, three questions or less. What's going on? What's shaking? I see that you have a question here that you submitted.
Hmm.
Around want to know the best way to reach out and connect with insurance companies to increase occupancy. So tell me where you're at right now.
I am at ground zero because I have not had an MTR guest at all in my
Mm-hmm.
property. And I'm like, what, what am I doing wrong? Is it just the area potentially? And I'm like, I really don't know how to figure out if there are other people in the area that actually have midterm rentals. So I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, especially
Mm-hmm.
for my local area, and I really don't hear people talking about it. And I'm like, I know, unless Durham is like the safest place in the whole world. I mean, I hate for people place to burn down or flood, but
Yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, what is happening?
Tell me
What am I
about
doing wrong?
your. Tell me about the type of home you have and where it's located.
So it's in Durham, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It is a townhome, so it's 3 levels. Um, yeah, with the bedrooms being upstairs, so 3 bedrooms, like I said, 2.5 bath.
Mm-hmm.
Um, very modernly decorated. So very pretty. I always get compliments by the other guests on short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody else that sees it. So yeah, it's in a safe and quiet neighborhood. It's in North Durham.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
How close are you to the city?
very close. Like downtown is like 10 minutes, if that
10 minutes.
much.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, now let's talk about what are you currently doing to optimize for insurance. Tell me about your setup.
All right.
So,
So basically, I've applied to, I mean, all of the different insurance agencies that I know of, right? So like, ALE, um, THD, all the people, plus people I had never even heard of.
right.
So I applied to them too, because I'm like, hey, put the information out there. But of course, I don't have like a person to talk to. I did have one of my friends who's in sub two with me, give me a lead, and I actually talked to her, but it really didn't go anywhere because you can just tell she was like, oh my God, like just put your stuff on the website and that's it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, cool. Like I wasn't asking her for a lead. I just wanted to introduce myself and
Mm-hmm.
just say, hey, I have,
Yeah,
so I have to
that's
help you
very
guys out.
typical, by the way. That don't feel
Okay.
like that's very typical. Like if I reach out to someone and I want to get and just kind of like, hey, I want to be besties with you, they'll just be like, yep, like they have to keep it moving. This is the
Sure.
procedure, especially because they might not have something readily available. So that is literally the best option. Now,
Yeah.
how long have you listed all your property in all those areas?
I listed it. It was on the market in December, so the end of December.
Okay, so it's been about 5 months. And
Yeah.
then question for you is the following. Currently, right now, you're operating as a short-term rental.
Yeah. So kind of doing a hybrid model
Mm-hmm.
just to keep just to keep it occupied, basically.
How far out are you available?
I put it for 24 months, so 2 years.
Is that for the STR listing?
Yeah. So, and that's the other issue.
Mm-hmm.
So with Airbnb, and I think I did tell you that the time that I did get on your the
Mm-hmm.
thing through LRA, like
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb will not let me create a duplicate listing.
Mm,
So
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
create that duplicate listing. They told me like no, and if I do for the purpose, I was upfront with them. Like I wanted one for like a longer term stay, the other one for a shorter term stay, and she was like, no, we're not, really allowing that. And if so, like they will basically just cut off all of your listings. So I'm like,
Hmm.
well, how the heck are people doing? Like,
Yeah,
what is
well,
going on?
that's interesting because I haven't experienced that yet. But I remember you were the first one to show me how the whole verification of where you are. I hadn't
Hmm.
seen that before. So that's again, you don't know how the algorithm works. Uh, but my question for you is what's the furthest booking that you have out for SDR? Like, do you have bookings right now out to
Yeah, I have a
July?
person coming to no, and that's the case. Even STRs like have
Mm-hmm.
take a taken a huge hit, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know if it's the market. Actually, I do. So Tim, who does the to set the pricing optimization, he was like, yeah, it looks like right now that area is in like kind of a downturn. Could
Did he
come
say
back up
why?
in like in July? No, like right now it's pretty strong just because of graduation.
Yeah.
But I have somebody in there for graduation. But once that's over, like I have nothing just yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So today though, I did reach out to a person on Furnish Finders who was kind of in my range. Most of the people are not. I have a hot lead, so it depends on. It's a lady who is also a host herself. She's coming to
Mm-hmm.
the area for her job. But the place she's currently renting, their AC went out. And she was like, it's taking them a really long time to
Mm.
get it fixed. And if they don't get it fixed, I need to move by Friday. I was like, so I gave her all of my information. We clicked really well. Only concern is I don't know if I'm going to be too far from what she needs because she needs to be in Raleigh. But I think it would be a great place for her and for the amount that she's wanted to rent it for, like she's in that range that I had on Furnish Finder. So that
Mm.
was me just picking up the phone and giving it a shot and started calling, because I wasn't calling like people on Furnish Finders. Like I would email them, I would text them. Sometimes you hear back, most times you don't. So I was like, let me just pick up the phone and call. What's the worst that can happen? And she
Yeah.
picked up, and it ended up being like a warm lead for sure.
Oh, nice. So that's good. So some traction on Furnish Finder. Just to compare, lastly, the when you say SDRs have kind of taken a downfall in your market, how long have you been in that market for? Like, what's the context
Like
of the
4 months.
data? 4?
like 4 months. Yeah, that's when I purchased my property in October. Purchased it for the purpose of doing,
Mm-hmm.
healthcare workers. I didn't know anything about insurance companies at that point in time. Then
Yeah.
I found out about Rachel, and that's when I ended up coming to Destin with you guys, and
Yep.
then joined the LRA. And I'm like, what? There's a whole other what? Other
Yep.
avatars? So all of that was like 100% new to me. And had I known about that beforehand, I would have definitely been a bit more picky about where I would have purchased. But
Yeah.
my goal was like I needed a property before the end of the year to use it short term for tax purposes in
Mm-hmm.
general and for proof of concept because I had been looking, for a while, but definitely for the tax purposes. And it
Okay.
will meet those criteria.
Yeah, it will, and then that'll help you. So I guess your data points though are, you know, December. So if you got in October, December would have been the peak with holiday, and then there would have been a slowdown across the market. I know I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you January, February, March is pretty slow. This is the time where it should pick up, and I don't know that you've experienced your first summer yet,
No.
STR wise. So I do think there's light at the other end of the tunnel. As far as the what I would suggest for the optimization is I would actually set up a second profile. That's what I would do. Um, because you're actually allowed to have more than one profile. I actually just set one up, and if I would have started, I would have done it that way. The duplicate
Mm-hmm.
listing is still high risk because imagine well, higher risk compared to having two different profiles, because then those end up being two different assets, right? So
Right.
if I would have done it again, knowing what I know today, I would have definitely created a whole new profile. Even
Mm-hmm.
for a profile would have been different for the one that I managed for other clients, like co-hosting. So I think it's interesting because they used to have the duplicate functionality. Like literally, it was baked into Airbnb. They had a duplicate my listing button to gather
They have
everything.
it. It's
And
still there. That's what
it's
I'm like.
still
What do you
there.
mean you guys don't do it? Yeah, because I just did it 2 weeks ago. The only reason I reached back out to them was
Hmm.
because it says that once you submit the videos for verification, which I did, they will let
Hmm.
you know in 24 hours. Well, no one let me know. It was like 2 weeks before I heard anything. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And then she was like, oh, well, you can't do it.
Hmm.
But what she's saying is not what I'm seeing from other people. So maybe I should just call back and try again and see who
I
else may
usually,
answer the question.
yeah, I usually always like to ask, and I'm just looking up here to see if I wanted to create a new listing because they changed their interface recently. Just would want to see what they would require. New listing. So another question I was gonna ask you is, are you on Zillow Rental Manager?
Yes, I re
Mhm.
did my listing because I also put it on CHBL Corporate Housing.
Mhm.
Victoria, who was my representative, because I wasn't really hearing anything from them, she took over and then she started listing on Zillow for me. I haven't heard back from her at all. So then I couldn't list because she had it up. And so once it ran out, I actually just put it back up night before last, I believe.
Yeah, you got to stay on top of that one because it will expire. And so sometimes I've had
Yeah.
people, yeah, I've done it, but it's like, yeah, but have you been responding to the emails? Because that's like I just had someone get $9,000 a month booking on Zillow. Because and so you really want to make sure you're available. And I've had many people where it's like, oh, I thought I was on there, but you're not because you didn't,
Yeah.
it's like every single month you gotta like say, yes, I'm available.
Yeah.
So interesting. So there's a few things. I think if it was me right now, I'd be like, okay, first of all, I haven't experienced my first spring yet, so continue to optimize that. I don't Do you have instant book turned on when it comes to Airbnb?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm only concerned with that is because you're 24 months out. If someone instant books in September, like you're literally saying, okay, I'm okay with that. Which unless you've have you also done where the pricing gets really expensive ways out or no?
I think I did because I did set it up with Tim to where when it's further
Mhm.
out, it's a little bit more expensive
It
for
should
a
be a
shorter.
bit, a lot of it. Not a little bit. It should be a lot. You should, yeah, you want to make sure that that's completely um super high because I don't want you to start getting traction and then you're getting things in July and August and now you have a spotty calendar again. Unless,
Hmm.
I mean, no, the only time we'll do that is like look at your lead time in your marketplace, let it be a month out, not more than that, a month or so, maybe call it 45 days max. But I don't want your SDR listing to have 24 months out because you're just kind of opening yourself up for exposure, too
Right.
much exposure. But I would create the second listing, and the way to do that, just a FYI, because I know I only have 2 minutes, is you want to use a new email and a new phone number. You can still use your ID. That's completely fine. Now, keep in mind that new phone number. You might say, "Well, Ruben, what phone number am I using?" You can use a Google
Yeah.
Voice number, right?
Okay.
Use a Google Voice number, and then I would run that test where now you're doing that. I would do 7 day stays because keep in mind that sometimes you might not pop up and you're giving yourself two chances to pop up for having set up that again now that new profile that you can still sync up with your PMS. Okay. So those would be that
Right.
lowest hanging fruit. And then usually I know I don't have access to your listing, but there's usually something, right? Um,
Hmm.
there's usually always something that you can change to optimize. Definitely have a look at the pricing. Make sure you're available. Make sure you're actually resubmitting into those databases. Don't just do it once. Sometimes they'll do a
Yeah.
cleanup, do a periodic, and then it is a matter of time. Sometimes, right? I can't tell you how. Uh, I've had so many people tell me, "Hey, Ruben, I'm liking anything," and then they get something, and like I was just telling the client that I had that just closed on their contract, I helped them write even the contract because I'm here in Georgia. They were
Hmm.
getting a little concerned around, and because they had a potential one that had fallen through, and then they were doing Airbnb, and they're like, and now they're, you only got to get it right once or twice. So my
Yeah.
thing would be make sure you continue to optimize for SDR. Make sure that you're also looking at the weekly pricing as well. Sometimes that gets people where the price too high in the week when they can really capitalize from, offering discounts for 7 day stays and 10
Right.
days a month and doing all those little tweaks on the SDR side until you can get that midterm rental contract. But for now, your action item is I would create a second profile if you choose to.
Okay, it's just a different one. And do you think they will penalize me if I use some, or should I just make it all new wording, even though it's the same pictures,
Oh yeah,
like
all
new title?
new wording, new title. That's tied to a complete different profile. It's
Okay.
completely, yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah,
Okay, I can do that, and I'll make it my company logo. So we'll see how that works.
exactly. Let me
Perfect.
know.
Thank
Share the
you.
receipts. Share the receipts. It's so nice to see you, Tiffany. You always
Yeah,
bring
you
a
as well.
contagious smile and good energy always. So I
Yay,
listen.
awesome.
I trust that there's one coming around your corner. You just got to trust that it is
That's
coming around the
true.
corner. Okay.
I accept
Believe
that.
it.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is mine. I'll let you conquer the rest of your evening.
Sounds good. Take care. Bye
Cheers.
bye.
Bye bye.